Hey, welcome to the channel, and this is my review of the LEGO Colosseum. The LEGO Colosseum has made headlines this year because it's now taken the title of the biggest LEGO set ever. Not biggest as in the biggest in terms of how big and how large it is. It's got the most pieces, coming in at 9,036 pieces. It handily beats the previous title owner, the UCS Millennium Falcon, by about 1,500 pieces or so. The set number is 10276 and it retails for a price of $549.99 US dollars. The LEGO Colosseum was designed by Jamie Barrard and, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Rock Jagalin Kobe, someone who's part of the a LEGO designer who's part of the LEGO architecture line, and they've brought this massive historical design to life. And I think that it cannot be said enough that you'll read this everywhere, you'll hear this from everyone that this is the biggest set to date, and it's gotten a lot of people very excited because we finally have a new set to take the crown. But at the same time, it's probably going to make a lot of UCS Millennium Falcon owners quite sad because they can't quite brag and tell all their friends that they have the biggest LEGO set ever. The LEGO Colosseum is perhaps one of the most challenging LEGO builds. I think a lot of people are going to be attracted by the set's size and display presence and the fact that it comes in at 9,000 pieces. Let's talk about the build. I really hated the build. I'm not a fan of repetitive builds. I had to kind of rush the build of this anyway because I had to get it out in time for a review, which probably didn't really do me any good. I didn't really enjoy the process because I was spending, I think I spent about 15 hours all up building this set. There is a lot of repetition. There are 4 boxes in the set. Box 1 is where you build the base, which is surprisingly sturdy. Box 2 and box 3, and also parts of box 4, build the inner and outer walls of the Colosseum. There's a lot of repetition, a lot of tan, so if you hate repetitive builds and you hate tan, you will likely not want to see another tan element after you're done with it. Box 2 and box 3 were by far the most unpleasant parts of the build because you're stuck in this endless cycle where you're building wedge after identical wedge that make up the Colosseum. You kind of build it in sections and you clip them together using some ball joints. I was very relieved when the build was over, and I think after the initial shock of the build wears off, you can really appreciate just how much detail is packed into a set of this size. I think one of the best things going for it, apart from the fact that it is now the biggest LEGO set ever and you can brag to all your friends, you can use it as a big talking point if you have guests over and you want to display your set and you want to tell everyone and you want the satisfaction of knowing that you own and you have built the biggest LEGO retail set ever. I think that the set has a lot going for it. One of the best things about the set is its display presence. It is massive. Look at this. It's a really heavy set. It weighs about 8 kilos, so it's not something you want to move around quite often. Displaying it is amazing. It really catches your attention, and LEGO have done something quite interesting with this set in that builds of this scale and builds of this caliber, you often see them at LEGO conventions and LEGO shows. You don't normally see them, you don't normally expect to walk into a shop and leave with a set that looks like this. I think what LEGO have done are very interesting. They've taken serious designers and builders and mockers typically display at fan conventions, and they've turned it into a retail set that you can just buy off the shelves, which I think is really interesting. And if you enjoy a challenge, I think this set is for you. What I also recommend is to take your time with the build. It is obviously very repetitive. I wouldn't rush through the build unless you absolutely have to get it done in in a day or two. It took me 15 hours, so please take your time and really kind of enjoy how the entire Colosseum comes together. I think there's a lot going for it, and I think that, you know, as you have it on display or when you're finished with it, you truly get to appreciate all the little flourishes, all the little details, all the little architectural features that it has. Rock, obviously coming from the LEGO architecture team, as you know, has been put to great use with this set. I think, you know, looking at all the different variations, the crumbly bits, the different holes and the different arches, there's a lot going on, and it is very, very beautiful. You can see the outer layer here, and just the series of arches and pillars. You can see here as well the 3 different styles of pillars. There you can see the use of the dark tan for skates for one of the pillars, the Corinthian pillars if I'm not wrong, and that's on the ground floor. Look at the interiors of the Colosseum. As you can see, endless wedges repeat amongst themselves. It's a really beautiful repeating, it's almost mesmerizing, almost hypnotic when you look at it. Over at the bottom you can see the base of the Colosseum. This is the arena or hypogeum, where, you know, there are essentially different tunnels and storage areas for animals, and where the gladiators used to wait out before their fights. I really like the little archway and entrances here as well. Bit of a fun fact, the ancient Romans used to flood the Colosseum with water to recreate naval battles, which I think was really cool. Here is the complex or plaza outside, where you can see miniature trees and cars and little stones. The build, if you look very, very closely into the different wedges, you essentially just build these wedges over and over again. And if you look here, you can see the little ball joints that connect all of them to create this you know, elliptical oval shape, which is very, very well done, very satisfying to look at. One of the things that that surprised me was just how photogenic this set is. It's a really, you know, cool looking set. It looks great on display, and I think if you have the space to display it, it's going to be something that you would really want to show off, and a bit of a talking point as well. One of my favorite parts, and I think my favorite view of the Colosseum, is when you kind of swivel it around, which has the outer walls. I really like the use of Roman pillars and just the detail and texture and just how uniform it looks. It looks really good. There's, you know, if you look at it, you see pillar after pillar, arch after arch, and it is truly, truly stunning. Over on the base, which you can see here, you can see a micro scale sort of like plaza where you have trees, cars. One of my favorite things is one of my favorite nods is the pale yellow car here, which, as you might guess, is a reference to this year's Fiat 500. I think one of the coolest things, one of the coolest things was the fact that LEGO have teased the Colosseum in this painting of the Fiat outside of the Colosseum, so you can of course display it next to it, because I think that they're both great odes to Italy and their heritage. Okay, what do I like about this set? Obviously the displayability. I think the display presence is one of the best things going on for this set. Obviously this is a very involved build. It took me about 15 hours, so it's not something that you can typically just rush through in an afternoon or even a weekend. I definitely recommend taking your time to build this set. If you like long repetitive builds, maybe you like to relax, then this will be great. And I think if you really want to show off a massive, highly detailed set that you can conveniently tell everyone that this is the biggest LEGO set ever built, this set is right for you. What I didn't like, about the set, obviously the build. I just really hated the build. I had to take a break after building this because I was building this non-stop for close to a week. I spent a few hours every night, 1 or 2 hours every morning, just trying to get this done to rush out my review on the blog, and yeah, it was pretty painful. But apart from that, I think the price is good. I think for 550 USD, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck, considering all the other 18 plus or creator expert sets out on the market at this point. I think, if you can get this on double VIP or some sort of discount, this sweetens the deal even more. This is a hard set to display because of how big it is. You're not going to just, you'll need a very large surface, and I'm not sure about you, but I'm running out of space to display my Lego, and so housing the Colosseum is a big challenge. So if you live in a small apartment, you don't have a lot of space, maybe don't rush into this set, but if you want a set that looks great, outside of a Lego room, it looks great on a table on its own, it's really a display centerpiece, then the Colosseum is right for you. I think if you're after a challenging build, and if you just really want to have the honor of owning and building the biggest Lego set ever, then by all means pick up the Colosseum. Now that we have the Taj and now the Colosseum, I would love Lego to really pad out and create this new 7 Wonders of the World sub-team. I would love to see more historical landmarks and architectural designs at this scale. I think that if Lego could, put out a Machu Picchu or a Petra, or even a massive, Great Wall of China, highly detailed model, that would be really cool. And good luck to everyone trying to display all of them. But I think that Lego are onto something special here. I don't think it's for everybody. It's definitely not something that I can recommend to everyone because of the space, because of the subject title. If you're not a fan of displaying large sets, if you like minifigures and playability, and I guess the toy-like nature of Lego, this set probably not for you. Especially if you don't have half $1,000 to drop on this set. But for everyone else, I would recommend this set. I would give this set a rating of 4 out of 5. I think it's a really it will push you, but I think the end result and just the sheer display presence and how great this looks is just right for everyone. So I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this. It's definitely going to be one of the hottest toys as we get into Christmas in a couple of weeks. And I think that I hope that we'll see a lot more Lego sets of this size and caliber from Lego. And that is my review of the LEGO Colosseum. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts about the biggest LEGO set ever. Just gonna keep sprinkling that into every single conversation possible because I can. If you liked this video, I would love to hear what you thought of it in the comments. Let me know what you think of the LEGO Colosseum. Drop a like, and if you loved this video and want to see more, please feel free to subscribe. You can also check out the full review on my blog, jsbrickblog.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.